Good morning, Henny Pauli here. Let's talk about USB-powered power supplies for your pedalboard. Now, Walrus Audio just released a brand new one, the Canvas Power USB. It's pricey. It can't do much compared to others. Technically, this is a cannot recommend, except for the fact that it does one thing, in addition to the other thing that it's too pricey for, that no other USB power supply can do. So we'll look at that and see if it actually can do that. But before that, we're going to look at the competition. Namely, I got a few on the table here. This is not a complete guide to USB power supplies. This is a complete guide to all the ones that I've been using. 18, 19 bucks. Angle power tap. Right there. It is absolutely tiny. I have been using this. There are also loads of different Chinese versions of that, probably all from the same factory, who knows. I've got a couple of options in my drawers, but this is killer. I've been using this everywhere to power things like nano cortexes and little bass preamps. And wherever I just want to quickly throw something on the ground, put a power bank next to it, and go. Even at gigs, I've used that. For the Fishman Aura, for example, I've used that. Now, there are a couple of things it needs to update. For example, the input is 5 to 18 volt, which is nice. So it's flexible, right? But it's a normal pluggy thing, but it's actually not a 9 volt pluggy thing to USB-A. So this needs to be updated with USB-C input. And then it has two outputs, right? If you can see that. Sorry, the camera is not very close. And you can't really power two digital pedals because these are not isolated. So you can use two outputs. Realistically, this is a device for one pedal on the floor, goes up to 800 milliamps. That's pretty powerful for a tiny box like this, and the thing is 18 bucks. So highly recommended to just have one of those in your pedalboard bag, in your gig bag, because for certain situations, that's all you need. Power bank that, done. I think it needs to be updated with USB-C. Mission Engineering has a whole bunch of them. This is the 529. It's a great box, also not cheap, right? But the 529 has been around for quite a while. Illustrated by its USB-A connection right there. And it can actually be chained through with a USB out to another one. Now, I've tried this and that caused some feeping and humming issues. It wasn't the greatest solution with digital pedals. So I would recommend using one. But again, it needs to be updated. USB-C would be the connection of choice, because the USB-C outputs now have quite the balls. It has USB-A to USB-B, but again, this has been around for quite a while. I'm pretty sure they're about to update it. Very nicely built, aluminium, kind of feels like a Strymon Zuma or something like this. And it's got 4 isolated 150 milliamp outs for your analog pedals, and then 1 500 milliamp out. So it's not going to power your most demanding devices, not high-powered stuff, but 500 milliamps is definitely going to power any of your Strymons and the like. So this is a nice choice, but again, it's Mission Engineering. It's not the cheapest. I have a bigger one from Mission Engineering, which I can't tell you what the name is. I'll look it up. One sec. It's the 529i Recharge. Oh, that's actually neat, because that clocks in at $199. It has a built-in battery that cannot be exchanged, okay? Comes with a power adapter. So that's how I'm using it. I'm using it in Studio A to power some stuff that's behind me. It's just installed there. You can use it like a normal power supply, but also with USB-B and micro USB USB 2 Type B micro, okay? But also with a built-in battery. I am saying that probably doesn't last super long, but at $199, given all the outputs, 300, 300, 300, 300, all 300 mil, is it correct? All 300 and two 500s. That's not bad at all. That's quite a bit of power there. So, recommended. Honestly, if you're going for, I want to power something with USB-C, and I want to do more than one pedal, for which I would pick the Engel. My current, I mean, you can see this is sitting there ready to be used. My current power supply of choice is the Chox 4. Now this comes with a power supply, but you can also get it as an expand version for $10 cheaper or whatever without the power supply. Now the great thing is USB-C in, 4 outputs with 660 milliamps each. That's already quite a bit of power. Each of them can be switched to 9, 12, 15, which is very unusual, and 18. So all these options are there. Overload protection. You can actually power it with 5-volt USB-C, which I do with the power bank. You can power it with 9 to 24 volt DC or 9 to 12 volt AC. Anything is possible. You can literally, if the plug fits, feed 9 to 24 DC, 9 to 12 AC in there. Any power supply you find lying around that fits in there can save your ass. But USB-C definitely saves your ass. This is a great device. We used it on the island, for example, when we did the island vacation. Island work thing. To power the Pod Go. How did we do that? We actually used the gray sum together cable, and then it actually gave us 1200 milliamps because you can sum 2 of them together. So this can be used for more high power situations. High enough to power your quad cortex? Likely not. But this with a power bank for smaller pedal boards, you can of course daisy chain and get quite more pedals than just 4. This is a killer solution. And at $139 for the expand version, meaning the one without the power supply, is absolutely fair. It's a Chox, people. So why in a video about Walrus Audio am I saying this is the shit? Well, you know what? Because this is the shit. If you're looking for a pure USB-C to 9-volt power a couple of pedal solution, get yourself the Chox 4. Sorry, Walrus Audio. At $139, you got nothing that can beat that. Okay, so what's the deal with the Walrus Audio? Let's find out. Here it is, and we're going to take it out of the box. So, it is, of course, very neatly packaged. There's even extra, my words are not there yet. I haven't had enough coffee. Protection. Always carry extra protection. Manual. Blah, 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 blah. So there are some brackets, so you can actually mount it under your pedal board. And of course, it'll fit under a pretty flat pedal board. And here's some cables. And that's where it gets interesting. We have a USB-C to USB-C cable, right? It's neat that we have that, and we're going to use this, because why not? Then we have one 9-volt cable, because it only has one output, not like the Chox. So it has one output, and the thing is $199. Isn't that a bit weird? Why do they want $199 for one output when Mission Engineering and other companies give you that much more outputage at $199? It's rather small, she said, right? Nothing on the sides. Well built. Okay. And there we go. We have USB-C in. And we have... Oh, I can get closer. Good lens. There we go. So we got 9, 12, 18. At, I'm going to tell you this, 500, 375, or 250, respectively. So 500 milliamps at 9 volts. The Engel for $18 already beats it, if you're going for one pedal. right? So at $199 for one pedal versus getting the angle thing for $18, why would you get this? And that's the thing. The second cable included is a 24-volt cable. Now, you can take the power supplies from the Canvas Power series, something, Canvas Power 15, plug them in here and chain them through, at which stage you've gained nothing from this. That would be pointless because you can just plug your power supply directly into the 15 and run that. So if you have a power supply, I mean, what's the point? But you could wire it up to, in an emergency, go to USB power. And that is the thing. So I'm plugging in USB power here. I haven't tried this. I'm chaining it through 24 volt into my Canvas Power 15. And look at all the outputs we got there. So technically, go in here. That gives me 1.5 amps of USB power, but also I can now power all the pedals that are on there, according to what this thing is supposed to be capable of. Obviously, depending on the USB-C power you feed into here, which we're going to try. Now, can you run this on a little power bank? Probably. Question is, how long? How much power can that little power bank put out? Well, I have a little power bank. This Anker Solix isn't gig bag friendly, but it definitely has some balls. So we have, in terms of, oh God, my eyes, 140 watts on this USB-C. That should be more than enough to power this thing. And for a while. Well, depending on how many pedals you've got on there, right? So what power do we have? Oh, we had 34%. That's not great. Should have charged that, but you know what? It should be doing it. And we'll find out once we plug it in. So, connect the USB-C, right? We have a light. And we have a light. Now, I am not building a pedal board with 20 pedals or whatever to test this. That's, it's just not, I don't have the time. And they did send me the power supply, but this is also an unpaid video, and I have a lot of videos that they have to pay the bills to do. Honestly, that's the truth. So I'm not building a big-ass pedal board. I just can't be bothered. But I have the Canvas Power HP. That doesn't stand for Henning Pauli, even though it fucking should. That stands for high power. Now this also takes the 24 volt in, has 3 9 volt at 500 milliamp outputs, which this should have as well. And then 1 9 or 12 volt high power output up to 3 amps. Doesn't say at 12 volt how much, but I hope it's a lot. Because I'm going to try to use this to power my quad cortex. For which you, of course, need the USB in front of it to enable input with a power bank. In my case, a rather big one. Get it? Mine's rather big. Okay, so we're going to plug this in. Immediately lights up. And now, little cable out of the 12 volt out. Lights up green. And now the big question is, does my quad cortex power on? Because that would mean I'm running my quad cortex off of a power bank. We got lights. Do we have action? Looks like it's booting up. It's a little bit ridiculous that our amp has to boot up. It just feels... If that happens in the middle of a gig, ask everyone to grab a cup of coffee. And there we go. The quad cortex is powered up. Using a power bank, okay, granted, a big one, which is now at 33%. If this is fully charged, first of all, you can also have a light. Isn't that neat? On stage. You know what? It might not be a bad idea to have a little light on stage. Obviously, this is for camping. But that means bring a power bank, have this Canvas power USB and the Canvas power HP, which then can also power a couple of pedals, connected underneath, and you're running your full Quad Cortex board off the grid. Which means you could be running the Quad Cortex on top of a hill. Well, we know that you can run the Nano Cortex off of a power bank directly. We know that. But a Quad Cortex? So that's pretty impressive, I would say. If all you want to do is quickly throw something on the floor, power a pedal, a little preamp or whatever, or a Nano Cortex or any of these, honestly, get yourself the four outputs at 660, USB-C, AC and DC power, 139 bucks, euros right now at Thomann. It's the shit. It's also not really that much bigger. It's a great power supply. It cannot, however, chain through, take the power from USB and power considerably bigger and more powerful power supplies, which is what the Canvas Power USB does. In that regard, it is the only thing on the market where you can take, as far as I know, where you can take a USB-C power connection from a more or less powerful power bank, right? And run any of the other Canvas power supplies with 24 volts. Likely, because it's 24 volts, you could also run that into Strymons. You could probably run that into a Chox 8. I think you probably could, because the Chox 8 also takes the 24 volt. Doesn't care where the 24 volt comes from. So you could take this to make the Chox 8 off the griddable, or a Strymon off the griddable, or a Power 15. I mean, look at the ins and outs. That's redonkulous. You can run this rather big analog board off the grid, throw it on stage, power bank, bam, done, and then take it away, run away for quick gigs, for a gig on a boat, a gig on a, I mean, I don't know how fast it'll drain your battery, but a gig on a mountaintop with the Quad Cortex and a whole bunch of pedals, it's possible. I mean, you need the HP, the high power. So is this massively overpriced at $199? It absolutely is. I think it's ridiculous, $199 for this thing, because it has one output of 9, 12, 18 at 500 milliamps at 9. That's not gonna do too much, and others, like the Engel for 20 bucks, or 19 or whatever, is doing the same thing. So buying it for that is utterly stupid. But if you have any kind of 24 volt power supply, you can now use this to run your 24 volt power supply off the grid with a power bank. And that is utterly unique. And for that uniqueness, they're asking a lot of dough. But you don't have a choice, as far as I know, because that is the solution that can do it. So I'm bitching about the price, but maybe they can just take the price, because who else does that? Honestly, yeah, there's probably lots of parts from China in there. All the components have to come from China. Tariffs are there, which means this is probably more expensive to be made in the US where it is made. But 200 bucks? It's probably not even 10 bucks in parts. They're taking your money, but they can, because it is utterly unique. And if this is the case you have, you need to be off the grid with a power bank and run something like this, then this can do it. So I'm not gonna be very hard on it price-wise, because if you got something unique, you can take the money. Maybe it'll come down in price when others follow suit. I'm impressed this actually, with the power bank, did run the quad cortex. Very impressed. Well done, Walrus Audio. I asked them to send me 3. Full disclosure, they did. I will have one of them in each of my studios so that I can quickly plug something in that's sitting on the floor without running cables and extenders and blah, 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 blah. Quickly, bam, power bank, and I'm done and I'm running. For that, it's killer. So, thanks for watching. Hope that taught you something. Maybe not. I'm out. I'll put links below and animals at the end.
To last, this too shall pass. Now you're left without a thing, but once you're freed from all possessions, you're feeling richer than a king. Feel you found the right direction, and when all the stars align, better take that as a sign. Remember, nothing's built to last, this too shall pass. There ain't no summer without rain, there ain't no fall without the gain.